Hello, this is Nicole. Welcome to my channel. Let's make an enchanted treasure chest. This will be another accessory for my octopus girl, my lady kraken, which is a doll customization project in progress. I have already made a sailing shipwreck because what kind of a kraken would she be without one? And a steampunk hut since she lives in the deep sea, very deep, about 20,000 leagues deep. Okay, I'm done.
Huh?
No, I'm kidding. This wooden chest I am making here won't be empty, of course. It will contain a very special and unique treasure. But I am not telling you what is it yet. You'll see. I made the body of the chest out of cardboard and I'm using popsicle sticks to cover it. To make it look old and weathered from the salty seawater, as I said, it's a prop for a creature of the deep. I am texturing it using a small knife to round off the edges of each plank, and then I am gluing them on the cardboard using wood glue. Okay, done.
What?
Wishful thinking. Working on that round off the edges idea, I am using my micromotor to perfect the shape so it looks more natural, and then even more texturing. With a small chisel, I create notches and scratches on the surface of each plank. This technique always pays off, giving the wood an old, worm-eaten look. Time for painting. I am using acrylics to paint everything brown, but I want the planks to look slightly different from each other color-wise. Otherwise the chest will look boring. So I'm using darker shades of brown. I'm painting loosely here and there to create a subtle color variety. The final stage is, of course, a black wash. A few drops of black in a lot of water. This watery black seeps into every crack, bringing out the texture of the wood. The shadows look darker, adding depth and making it look even more three-dimensional. To create the metallic edges, I am using Warbler. Warbler has become one of my favorite materials. It's a thermoplastic that can be formed in any shape after heating. I am using a heat gun for that. It needs some care when heating it so it doesn't burn, and I did have a few accidents at first, but after some practice I learned how it works. Now I'm using it at every chance I get. Okay, done.
What?
This joke is getting old. I am stopped doing it. Now let's make the hinges. I guess I could have bought some pre-made hinges. It would have been much more easier, but I wanted to try making them myself. So I am using a plastic straw. I cut 3 pieces for each hinge and glue them onto the warbler with super glue. That didn't work very well, so I added a drop of hot silicone to make sure that they stay in place. Before moving to the internal part of the hinges, I painted every piece of warbler with a mix of metallic copper and deep brown acrylics to create a darker shade. For the inside of the chest, I used fabric from an old skirt that I no longer wear. For some reason that I never understood, I used hot silicone to attach the fabric to pieces of cardboard that would go inside the chest. What a waste of good hot glue! I could have used wood glue and it would have worked just fine. But our minds play silly games on us sometimes, right? Anyways, the result is beautiful, so I don't mind my poor choice of glue. Back to the hinges. I am painting them using a silver metallic color this time to differentiate them from the rest of the metal. And I used a toothpick to create the pin inside. The result was not exactly what I was intended. The hinges were too loose and the lid was falling all the way back. So I attached 2 small chains to prevent that from happening. The outcome was really nice and suited to the whole aesthetic perfectly. I love it when this thing happens, solving a problem and ending up with a better result than the original plan. Next thing, the lock. As I said, there will be a quite unique treasure in that chest. I can't just leave it without a beautiful lock. This time, hot glue was just the right thing for creating an elaborate lock. I poured some into a mold and voila! Back to my brushes. I am using black acrylics to make the metal look old and worn. I then move on to the lock, which I had already painted black as a base. For the second layer, I used the same dark copper mix as before. I am faking the keyhole. I simply painted the hood underneath black to make it look like a real hole. No need to drill, and it worked perfectly. It's a bit of a cheat, I know, but I think you'll forgive me. I am using metallic gold color to make the details of the lock stand out. Just a tiny bit, no need for much. And I am using my fingertip instead of a brush. Then a gentle touch of black to make it look old and weathered. As a final detail, I'm adding turquoise color, or it's light petrol, I'm not sure. Anyway, I used it to simulate that oxidized look of old metal. Now let's dive very deep. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, this old and rusty chest is a prop for my lady Kraken. She, of course, lives at the bottom of the ocean. Well, sometimes she surfaces to snatch an unsuspecting ship for lunch, but her home is on the deep ocean floor. I want to create that feeling on my chest by incorporating elements of the seabed, like sand and mud. I am adding layers of each one of these elements. Sand for sand, and argil clay that normally I use for beauty masks on my face. In this case, it serves for creating mud. I mixed it with water and wood glue to make a paste and applied it on the chest with an old brush. After that, I glued on rows of round 3D stickers that I have found at the €1 shop, and I'm guessing they were originally meant to simulate pearls for princess crowns, but I use them whenever I want to create nails and screws. They look perfect once painted with metallic color. Final act of the deep ocean scenery is seaweed, which I create the same way I made the mud and the sand, but with artificial grass. Now, I guess an oceanologist might argue at this point that seaweed doesn't grow in the deep sea, but this is fantasy world, and in this world anything is possible. Now, the moment I've been waiting for. I hope you've been waiting too. It's time to see what's in the chest.
Maybe it's treasure!
Well, it is treasure. A very unique treasure. Did you know that an octopus has 3 hearts?
An octopus has 3 hearts. Huh, that's a fun fact.
Well, that's the most precious treasure of my girl. Her hearts. And they're not in the chest yet. I need to make them first. And no, a heart isn't the simple, pretty symbol we often send to each other. It's a quite complicated organ. Luckily, someone suggests Sketchfab to me, an online platform you can explore 3D models. Very useful. I decided to craft Lapis hearts using air dry clay. Did I tell you the name of my doll is Lapis? She's named after the beautiful lapis lazuli, the amazing semi-precious stone. So, air dry clay for the main parts of the heart, which are... no, this is too medical. I am not doing that to you. I'll just say that this heart I am crafting here is a human heart, not an octopus. But my girl is half human, so it's okay. I need to tell you that I am not a sculptor, and to manage to do this was quite a challenge for me. But that's part of the adventure, right? Making the effort, learning new things, experiencing failures and disappointments, celebrating small victories, and above all, have fun, like a child. It might look easy and effortless in the video, but don't be fooled. There was a lot of trial and error, a lot of mistakes and failures and nasty words behind the scenes. I try to remember this every time I watch a crafting video by a talented artist where everything seems to flow perfectly. I try to remember that even the most talented people are fighting with their own obstacles. That gives me courage to keep going when things are not so easy for me. So, after quite some time and a lot of effort, I managed to sculpt the first heart for my girl. Once it dried, I used a small chisel and sandpaper to refine the shape, and then I made 2 more. After that, I started painting them red, because hearts are usually red. Then a different idea popped into my head. Since octopus have blue blood, that's another fun fact I learned while researching on them, I thought they would look better if I painted them blue.
Too Christmassy, mate. Paint 'em blue.
Yeah, that was a bad idea.
I don't like it. Paint it red.
I didn't like the outcome, so I repainted them red. I used bright red for the main part and darker shades as well as pink for the smaller parts. Then I gave them a nice bath with black wash, and the little treasure chest project was complete. Let's have a proper look. What do you think of my little chest and its unique treasure? If you had an old wooden chest, what precious treasure will you keep safe in it? I would love to know. Please tell me in the comments. I hope you liked this video. Hit that like button if you did, and consider subscribing to my channel for more content. Thank you so much for watching, and I wish you great crafting adventures. See you in my next video.